In a previous video, I mentioned that AI has turned every single software market into a red ocean. And by red ocean, I mean an oversaturated market where most competitors are unprofitable and only monopolies survive because they acquire customers at zero cost. AI has drastically reduced the financial and time investments required to release software. I'm not so sure about the quality of said software, but I digress. Every single day, approximately 1,000 software startups are listed on Product Hunt. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the startups that chose to go that route. I mentioned that increased competition leads to a decrease in the total addressable market. So if the total number of customers remains constant, but the price each customer pays goes down, so does the pie, so to speak. I'm here to tell you that I made a mistake. I was partially wrong. My initial observation that the total number of customers remains constant was in fact incorrect. So things are much worse. See, normally when any market gets flooded with competitors, that's a good thing. It creates price deflation, which makes end consumers practically richer. They can now afford more products. But what we're seeing today is that for the first time ever, consumers themselves have become software vendors. Now, literally anyone with an internet connection has become a software as a service entrepreneur. It's trivial to ask Claude or Gemini or some duct-taped collection of AI agents to make computers go blip bloop, then throw a Stripe API key in there to accept credit card payments, and bam, you've got yourself a startup. You can now change your LinkedIn tagline to founder and CEO. Customers simply stopped looking for ready-made software as a service products and started building their own in-house alternatives. LinkedIn is full of these stories. For the first time ever, we're seeing both an unprecedented rise in competition, which leads to deflation, and an accelerated reduction of the total number of potential customers. All of this happens because of AI. So the total addressable market shrinks on both ends, price deflation and collapse of demand, both happening at the same time and both accelerating daily. As competition grows, so does the cost to acquire customers. This is somewhat typical of red ocean markets, but dialed to 11, exponential because of AI. So let's imagine the typical bank statement of your average founder 10 years ago. $5,000 on office and work equipment. $50,000 on salaries to build the first MVP. And maybe $10,000 for the first batch of ads to prove demand before going to investors. So the same person today would probably spend $0 on office and work equipment, $0 on salaries, and maybe a few $100s on an MVP built by AI tools. Now they can go all in on ads before reaching out to investors. So instead of spending $10,000 on ads, now they can easily justify $60,000 and still have some pocket change left. If you wanted to compete on ads today, you'd find out two things. One, that cost per click has skyrocketed. And two, that AI bots have made click fraud worse than it ever was. These two factors made it so that the cost to acquire a customer is simply astronomical. Running ads looks so much like burning money that it probably is illegal in some states. The cost to acquire a customer has surpassed total customer lifetime value. In other words, profit is an impossibility. And don't forget, the total addressable market is evaporating. The only ones winning are the AI monopolies and Nvidia and goose farmers, I guess. Those guys were right. Pretty soon we'll all get back to agriculture to enjoy the simple life as techno serfs. Long live Microsoft.